I'm no longer in Discovery. I don't have a job. What? It's finally true. Richard Rawlings is not guilty as many people said he was for years. The star of Fast and Loud says he's been keeping a dark secret that makes sense of everything. Why his marriage didn't work out, why he sold all of his cars all of a sudden, and why Discovery really ended his show. He's finally ready to tell the truth about what happened in that $6 million court case now that he's 55 years old. And believe us, it's a lot worse than anyone thought. His birthday is March 30th, and he was born in a working-class area of Fort Worth, Texas. He loved cars a lot before he became famous on TV, and a big deal in the auto industry. In one of the oldest pictures of him, he is shown as a proud little boy sitting in a pedal-powered Volkswagen Beetle. It wasn't just a toy, it showed what was to come. On Saturday mornings, most kids watched cartoons, but Richard did something different. He would get up at 3 a.m., when most people in the city were still asleep, and go deliver newspapers with his dad. They would stack papers, roll them up, drive through dark neighborhoods and throw the papers on people's lawns. Richard did the same thing again for the afternoon version after school. He would ride his bike from house to house on the weekends to get paid. It wasn't just the money that stood out during those rounds, it was the cars. He started to pay attention to all of them. He knew which house had which model, year and make. Some of his customers were shocked at how much he knew. It was always easy for him to answer. Most days of the week, I ride by your house twice a day. What could I not know about what's in your driveway? Even though his dad had 2 or 3 jobs, he always made sure he had a car or motorbike for himself. He got that one toy as a prize. That lesson stuck with them. Richard learned from what he saw that you had to work for what you wanted. Richard got his first car when he was 14 years old. The year was 1983. It was a green 1974 Mercury Comet. He used money he had saved from years of working as a newspaper reporter to pay for it. A lot of kids wanted to be 16 years old. Richard was already behind the wheel. Of course not officially, but he wasn't stopped. That Comet wasn't just a ride, it said something. He would do donuts on the burnt rubber in the school parking lot just to show what it could do. His friends still talk about it. It was an ugly green color, but he thought it was the coolest car ever. After that, things went quickly. That 1987 school year he was already on his 3rd car. It was a black 1977 Bandit Trans Am this time. Someone at Eastern Hills High School knew all about cars because of it. It looked like something from Smokey and the Bandit. It wasn't just to show off though. He also turned cars over, getting, fixing and selling. He had already flipped 20 different cars before he graduated. He made more that way than most kids do with part-time jobs. He didn't just guess. It was easy for him to spot deals, make them just a little better, and get people to pay more than he did. Everything that came after it was built on top of that. When Rawlings was only 22, in the early 1990s, he had to deal with something much worse. A 1965 Ford Mustang 2+2 Fastback, a classic power car with the kind of roofline that car collectors dream about, was behind the wheel of this man. Someone stole his car while he was driving through a rough area near Oakland Boulevard in Fort Worth one night. They tried to get him out of the driver's seat. Richard fought back. During the fight, a bullet went through his shoulder and down his left arm. He made it. He could have quit the world of cars for good, but instead, it made him stronger. That was before the tattoos, the fame, or the garage. From 1988 to 1990, Richard wore 3 different outfits. Before he turned 21, he worked as a police officer, a firefighter, and a nurse. His dad always told him to get a good job with perks, stay loyal, and get a gold watch when he retired. At least at first, Richard paid attention. Everything changed in 1988, when he brought Miller Lite to a nearby bar. An old friend, whom he thought was just another drunk, asked him what he was going to do with his life. Richard talked about becoming a police officer, but said he couldn't afford to go to the school. He looked at him and said, "Damn it, I'm the mayor of that city." Richard was accepted into the North Texas Police Academy in just 17 days. He worked as a police officer in Alvarado. Then he went to work as a fireman in Capel. He was good at many things, and knew how to keep calm when things went wrong. He would use those skills to handle crises in business later on, but he needed a change when he was 25. He bought a Jeep after selling everything he owned. He left for California with the goal of beginning something new. He didn't have any tattoos or beard back then, no body jewelry. After 6 months, he was broke, had tattoos, pierced ears, and no Jeep. When he went back to Texas, it had been taken back. He slept on the couch his sister gave him. He wasn't broken by that low point. It helped him focus. Things had to get going on his own. That's when he started Lincoln Press in 1999. It was a Dallas company that printed things and ran ads. He didn't know much about printing, but he did know about branding. He got a small business loan for $100,000 to get going. In just 5 years, Lincoln Press was doing very well. When the company made its first $1 million sale in 2004, he gave the customer a Lamborghini Gallardo. That trick worked. The business kept getting bigger. He sold it in the end. He used the money from that sale to buy cars, which was his real dream. Things didn't really take off when Richard Rawlings opened Gas Monkey Garage in Dallas in 2002. It was a small store. It was built with money from the sale of his old business, Lincoln Press, and didn't even have running water or air conditioning. Things got off to a bad start. Rawlings wanted to do it, but he didn't have the money or time to do it. He still had faith in what he was building. He and his small group then hit the road and went to car shows. They went to trade shows and gatherings all over the country, and did anything to get the Gas Monkey name out there. He and his friend Dennis Collins set out in May 2007 to break the Cannonball Run, which is one of the most famous marks in car culture. The old record was 32 hours and 51 minutes, which was set in 1979. That's how long it took to drive from New York City to Los Angeles, from coast to coast. The record hadn't been played in almost 30 years. In May 2007, Rawlings and Collins chose to give it a try. They didn't go on the planned route for the Bull Run drive from Montreal to Key West. Instead, they went straight for the record. Their Ferrari 550 Maranello was changed so that it had more fuel tanks so they wouldn't have to stop as often. They sneaked out of Manhattan at night, and got to the Portofino Inn in Redondo Beach in 31 hours and 59 minutes. It was done. It had been 28 years since they had gone faster than 87.6 miles per hour, on a road that was 2,811 miles long. At first, some people didn't believe it. Some people had problems with the route, or saw how it compared to the first runs. But even though there was a lot of fuss, the feat stood out. It was brave, it was risky, and it was real enough for Jay Leno to give Rawlings a personal nod. This moment meant more to him than most people knew. Jay Leno likes more than just cars. He knows a lot about cars. His garage is packed with a huge number of old and unusual cars. He knows a lot about cars, and is highly respected in the industry. Leno didn't just praise Rawlings when he told him he had broken the Cannonball Run record. It was a strong sign of approval. Back then, Rawlings wasn't well known until Fast and Loud came out. But that nod from Leno helped people in the car business trust him a lot. That trust was important for Rawlings. From 2002 to 2012, it wasn't easy to get Gas Monkey off the ground. He put all of his money into the business. He worked out of a garage that didn't have running water, air conditioning, or even enough tools to get by. It was tough for him to find good engineers and the right parts. It was a battle just to keep the lights on. There were risks in every project. You had to earn every customer. At that time, Rawlings began to talk about his show plan. He wanted more people to learn how to restore cars, and not just car fans, families, kids, and anyone else who liked a good story with some power behind it. The networks didn't care though. It seemed like the idea was too specific or too risky. He kept pushing the brand by going on the road while he waited for a chance. There should be more meetups, car shows and phone calls with real people. The work was slow, but it made something strong. When Discovery finally said yes in 2012, the name Gas Monkey was already well known in the car world. No one knew that Fast and Loud would make a Dallas garage famous around the world. When it first aired on June 6, 2012, Richard Rawlings was at the center of everything. He was just a guy running Gas Monkey Garage before the cameras came out. When the show took off, people in more than 200 countries knew his face. Not only did it do well in the US, but the show was also made into 13 other languages. With that much reach, Rawlings became a big name in the entertainment business very quickly. The idea was easy to understand, but very strong. Rawlings and his team looked for old cars that no one had seen in a long time. Most of them were hurt, or could hardly walk. They fixed up the cars, made them shine, and then sold them to make money. But the tone of the show was what made it stand out. Other shows were more dramatic, or aimed at specific groups of people, but Fast and Loud was more general. As Rawlings put it, it was something that kids and grandparents could both enjoy. He didn't want to make another car show. He wanted it to be fun and move quickly. He also wanted everyone